Your mindset shapes your reality in ways most people never fully understand. The thoughts you allow to stay in your mind, the beliefs you choose to hold on to, and the attitude you bring to every situation all work together to build the world you experience every single day. People often think their circumstances dictate their outcomes, but the truth is that two individuals can face the exact same difficulty and walk away with completely different results simply because of the way they think. One person sees a closed door and stops. Another sees the same closed door and starts knocking, pushing, or looking for another entrance. The difference isn't in the door, it's in the mindset. When you understand that your mindset is the starting point of every action you take, every decision you make, and every dream you either chase or abandon, you begin to realize how powerful it is. But what most people don't appreciate is that mindset isn't something you're born with. It's something you shape, strengthen, and stretch every day through the way you respond to life. When your thoughts are small, your life becomes small. When your thoughts are fearful, your actions become hesitant. When your thoughts are negative, your results follow the same pattern. But when you start thinking in terms of possibility, potential, and purpose, everything in your life begins to expand. Changing your thinking doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means interpreting reality through a lens that empowers you instead of one that limits you. You may not control every situation, but you control the meaning you attach to it. That meaning influences how you feel, how you act, and ultimately what you create. If you constantly tell yourself you can't do something, your brain will look for evidence to confirm it. But if you tell yourself you can grow, improve, and rise above challenges, your brain will start searching for ways to make it happen. Your mindset works like a magnet. It attracts experience, opportunity, and outcomes that match the frequency of your thoughts. When you start your day with a defeated mindset, everything feels heavy. Every task feels like a burden. Every obstacle feels impossible. But when you start your day with a mindset that believes you're capable, worthy, and ready, even tough situations feel manageable. You begin to notice options you didn't see before. You start seeing cracks of light in dark places. You start creating momentum simply because your mind is no longer fighting against you. Changing your mindset is the first step toward changing your life because your actions can never consistently rise above the level of your thinking. You cannot behave like a champion while thinking like a victim. You cannot build a future while staying stuck in the mindset of your past. You cannot pursue greatness while convincing yourself that average is all you deserve. Your mindset determines how you respond to failure. Some people view failure as proof that they're not good enough. Others see failure as feedback, as part of the process, as training for something bigger. When you look at failure through a growth mindset, you don't fall apart. You bounce back. You don't hide. You adjust. You don't quit. You learn, and you come back smarter and stronger. That's because your mindset isn't telling you that the failure defines you. It's telling you that the failure develops you. Your mindset either traps you or transforms you. It either builds walls or opens doors. It either shrinks your comfort zone or expands your courage. Every belief you hold, whether it's empowering or limiting, was planted in your mind at some point and then repeated until it became part of your identity. But here's the powerful part. Anything that was learned can be unlearned. Anything that was accepted can be rejected. Anything that was planted can be uprooted and replaced with something better. And once you begin changing what you believe about yourself, your potential, your worth, and your future, everything in your external world begins to shift to match your internal narrative. You don't need a perfect background to build a powerful mindset. You don't need wealth, support, or ideal conditions. What you need is the willingness to challenge the thoughts that hold you back and replace them with thoughts that push you forward. A strong mindset is built through repetition, repeating positive beliefs, repeating disciplined actions, repeating intentional choices. Over time, those choices become habits. The habits become patterns, and the patterns become the design of your life. When you train your mind to focus on solutions instead of problems, you start solving things faster. When you train your mind to see progress instead of perfection, you start growing instead of quitting. When you train your mind to believe that effort leads to improvement, you stop fearing hard work and start embracing it as the path to transformation. A strong mindset turns obstacles into opportunities because it reshapes the way you interpret every challenge that shows up in your life. Most people see obstacles as stop signs, as warnings that they should turn around, slow down, or give up entirely. But a person with a strong mindset understands that obstacles aren't barriers designed to break them. They are tests designed to build them. Every challenge carries a lesson, every setback carries information, and every moment of resistance carries a chance to grow. When you strengthen your mindset, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That simple shift changes your entire journey. A strong mindset is not about pretending difficulties don't exist. It's about meeting those difficulties with courage, clarity, and creativity. When you have a strong mindset, you don't collapse under the weight of adversity. You adapt, you adjust, and you push forward. Where others see a dead end, you see a detour. Where others see rejection, you see redirection. Where others see hardship, you see a chance to develop resilience. And that perspective is something you train, not something you're born with. It comes from repeatedly choosing to face challenges with determination instead of fear. Obstacles have the ability to expose the weak points in your character, your habits, and your preparation. A weak mindset gets frustrated by these moments and interprets them as signs of failure. But a strong mindset sees these exposed weaknesses as blueprints for improvement. If something feels hard, it's not a signal that you should quit. It's a signal that you need to level up. You start to understand that every difficulty is showing you exactly where you need more discipline, more patience, more strategy, or more skill. With a strong mindset, instead of blaming the world, you take responsibility for how you respond. Another powerful aspect of a strong mindset is the way it rewires your relationship with fear. Fear doesn't disappear. You simply learn not to surrender to it. You learn that fear often shows up in front of the things that matter most. A strong mindset doesn't wait for fear to vanish before moving forward. It moves forward despite the fear. You begin to treat fear as information rather than intimidation. Fear might say, this is new or this is risky, but your mindset says, this is necessary. And when those two voices collide, the stronger one always wins. That's why mindset matters, because the internal voice you empower becomes the one that guides your behavior. A strong mindset also changes the way you deal with rejection. Most people fear rejection because they view it as a final judgment of their worth or ability. But with a strong mindset, rejection becomes a signal that there's a better fit, a better opportunity, or a better strategy ahead. You stop personalizing it and start utilizing it. You analyze what went wrong, you adjust, and you come back with more clarity. Rejection becomes refinement, not punishment. Instead of allowing rejection to destroy your momentum, you allow it to sharpen your focus. A strong mindset gives you the stamina to stay committed even when results are slow. One of the biggest obstacles people face is the temptation to quit too soon. They want progress, but they want it fast. And when it doesn't appear quickly, they assume they are doing something wrong. But a strong mindset understands that real growth takes time. You don't dig up a seed every day just to check if it's growing. You water it, nurture it, and trust the process. With a strong mindset, you learn to keep moving even on days when you don't feel motivated, because your commitment becomes stronger than your emotions. Another way a strong mindset turns obstacles into opportunities is by helping you see how setbacks can redirect you towards something even better than what you originally planned. Sometimes you aim for something and life blocks you, not to deny you, but to reroute you. A weak mindset interprets this as misfortune, but a strong mindset sees the possibility of a bigger purpose unfolding. You begin to trust that not every closed door is a law. Sometimes it's protection. Sometimes it's guidance. Sometimes it's making space for something greater. A strong mindset also teaches you to separate failure from identity. Just because you fail at something doesn't mean you are a failure. It means you tried. It means you stretched yourself. It means you discovered what doesn't work, and now you're closer to what does. With a strong mindset, failure is not the end of your story, but a chapter that strengthens the plot. You stop running from mistakes and start learning from them. You stop hiding from challenges and start embracing them as catalysts for growth. When your mindset is strong, you also become more resourceful. You stop waiting for the perfect conditions and start working with what you have. Your inner dialogue determines your outer performance because the conversations you have with yourself shape the way you act, react, and show up in the world. Every moment of your life, even the ones where nobody else is around, you are speaking to yourself in thoughts, beliefs, assumptions, and quiet messages that either strengthen you or weaken you. Most people underestimate the power of this internal conversation. They think thoughts come and go without making much impact. But the truth is that your thoughts become your mood becomes your behavior, and your behavior becomes your results. If the voice inside your mind is constantly criticizing you, doubting you, or telling you that you're not enough, then your actions will reflect that belief every time. When your inner dialogue is negative, your world starts to feel heavy. You hesitate more often. You second guess your ideas. You shrink from opportunity. You talk yourself out of your potential before life ever has a chance to test it. You convince yourself you don't have what it takes. And once the mind accepts that story, it doesn't matter how much talent or ability you really have. You will underperform because you have already defeated yourself mentally. The body follows the instructions the mind gives it. If the mind says you can't, the body won't even try. But when your inner dialogue is aligned with strength, growth, and belief, your entire approach to life changes. You start to attempt things you previously avoided. You speak with more confidence. You take more action. You give more effort. You pursue goals with a different level of intensity because the voice inside your head is no longer tearing you down. It's lifting you up and pushing you forward. A powerful inner dialogue doesn't promise that everything will be easy, but it convinces you that everything is possible. And that alone changes the way you perform in every arena of your life. Your inner dialogue is like the foundation of a building. If the foundation is cracked, unstable, or weak, the structure will eventually collapse under pressure. But if the foundation is strong, the building can withstand storm. The building can withstand storms. On Papa Song. The same applies to your mind when life gets difficult, and it always does. Your performance depends on whether your inner voice encourages you to endure or tells you to give up. When your mind says, oh, this is too hard, you slow down. When your mind says, I always mess this up, you start expecting failure. But when your mind says, I can figure this out, you search for solutions. When your mind says, I've survived worse, you push through. The conversation inside determines the outcome outside. People often look for motivation in external places. Speeches, video, quotes, validation from others. These can help, but they can't compete with the power of the voice that lives inside you every day. You spend more time listening to yourself than you spend listening to anyone else. That means your inner dialogue is the most influential voice in your life. If you train that voice to speak strength, your life becomes stronger. If you train it to speak doubt, your life becomes smaller. You carry your inner voice into every challenge, every opportunity, every decision. It's with you when you wake up, when you work, when you fail, when you win, and even when you're thinking about quitting. That is why controlling that voice is one of the most important forms of discipline you can develop. What you repeatedly say to yourself becomes your identity. If you constantly tell yourself you're lazy, you begin acting like someone who doesn't try. If you tell yourself you're unlucky, you stop recognizing opportunities. If you tell yourself you don't deserve success, you'll sabotage yourself each time you get close to achieving it. But if you tell yourself you are capable, then you start performing with capability. If you tell yourself you are disciplined, you begin making disciplined choices. If you tell yourself you can learn anything, failure becomes less frightening because you see it as part of the process rather than proof of inadequacy. Your inner dialogue also influences how resilient you are. When something goes wrong, does your mind say, this always happens to me? Or does it say, I'll handle this? When you lose something important, does your mind say, it's over? Or does it say, I can rebuild? When someone doubts you, does your mind echo their criticism or remind you of your worth? These responses determine how quickly you bounce back, how willing you are to keep going, and how much strength you show in moments when others will fold. Your inner voice sets the tone for your recovery. Another powerful aspect of your inner dialogue is the way it shapes your expectation. The expectations you set for yourself create invisible ceilings or open doors. If you expect to fail, you perform timidly. If you expect success, you perform boldly. Discipline, focus, and belief are mental muscles. And like any muscle, they grow stronger the more you train them. Most people think success comes from talent, luck, or being born with some special advantage. But in reality, it comes from having the mental strength to stay consistent, committed, and stay confident even when life pushes back. These mental muscles determine how you handle pressure, how you pursue your goals, and how you bounce back when things don't go your way. When you don't train them, you become mentally weak. You give up quickly. You lose concentration easily, and you let doubt talk you out of action. But when you train them daily, they become part of your identity, and you begin to operate at a different level. Discipline is the foundation of everything you want in life. It's the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing. Discipline is not about motivation. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. Discipline is about commitment, showing up whether the conditions are perfect or not. A person with discipline doesn't wait for the right move. They create the right habits. They don't rely on feelings. They rely on consistency. And every time you choose discipline over comfort, that mental muscle grows. It becomes easier to say no to distractions and yet to grow. It becomes natural to follow through on your promises. Discipline builds self-respect because every disciplined action is a signal to yourself that you can be trusted. The more you trust yourself, the more confident you become, and that confidence fuels even more discipline. Focus is another mental muscle that determines how far you go. In a world full of distractions, focus is a superpower. Most people struggle not because they lack ability, but because they lack direction. Their attention is scattered, their energy is wasted, and their goals are unclear. But when you train your focus, you learn how to aim your energy at what truly matters. You stop chasing everything and start committing to the important thing. You stop reacting to the noise around you and start creating the path in front of you. Focus allows you to enter deep work mode, where progress happens faster and results become sharper. It's not just about concentrating. It's about eliminating what doesn't serve your purpose. Every time you choose to stay focused instead of scrolling, procrastinating, or letting your mind wander, you strengthen your ability to lock in. A strong focus muscle allows you to work with intensity, clarity, and purpose, even when the world is filled with distractions. Belief is the mental muscle that often separates those who try from those who succeed. Your belief system shapes your perception of what is possible. If you believe you can learn, grow, and overcome challenges, you behave accordingly. You take risks. You step out of your comfort zone. You stay committed when things get tough. But if you believe you're not good enough, or that success belongs to others but not you, your actions shrink to match that belief. You settle for less. You talk yourself out of progress before life has the chance to show you what you're capable of. Belief is not about pretending things are easy. It's about trusting that you can figure it out, even when the path is difficult. And belief becomes stronger each time you prove to yourself that you can do something you once thought was hard. These mental muscles, discipline, focus, and belief, don't grow overnight. They grow in moments when you face resistance. Every time you wake up early when you wanted to sleep in, your discipline grows. Every time you stay committed to a task when distractions pull at you, your focus grows. Every time you keep going after a setback, your belief grows. Growth happens in discomfort. Growth happens in effort. Growth happens when you do hard things repeatedly until your mind adapts and becomes stronger. Just like physical training, the more you challenge your mental muscles, the more they develop the capacity to handle bigger challenges. The powerful part is that once these muscles grow, they start working together. Discipline helps you stay focused. Focus helps you see progress. Progress strengthens belief. Belief then fuels even more discipline. This cycle becomes the engine that pushes you toward your goals. Most people fail not because they don't have potential, but because they stop at the first sign of discomfort. They allow their mental muscles to stay weak. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, the perfect move. But the ones who succeed are the ones who train even when conditions aren't perfect. Mental strength also gives you emotional control. When your discipline is strong, you don't let emotions dictate your choices. When your focus is strong, you don't get overwhelmed by problems. You break them down and handle them. When your belief is strong, you don't crumble under criticism or doubt. You trust your vision. Success requires a mindset that matches your goals, not your comfort zone. Because the level of thinking that keeps you safe and comfortable is not the same level of thinking that will take you to the life you want. A lot of people dream big, but think small. They want greatness, but operate from habits designed for survival. They desire progress, but cling to routines that keep them from growing. They say they want more, but their mindset is still tied to the version of themselves who fears risk, avoids discomfort, and chooses familiarity over transformation. If your goals are on one level and your mindset is on a lower level, the gap between them becomes impossible to close. Your mindset is the internal engine that drives everything you do. If that engine is weak, outdated, or limited, it cannot carry you to a higher destination. You cannot expect yourself to achieve extraordinary goals with a mindset built on ordinary thinking. You cannot demand excellence from a mind that has been trained for avoidance, procrastination, and self-doubt. The mindset that keeps you in your comfort zone is designed to protect you from uncertainty. But the mindset that takes you to success is designed to guide you through uncertainty. One keeps you safe, the other makes you strong. And success requires strength more than safety. Many people stay stuck in life not because they lack opportunity, but because they refuse to upgrade their mindset. They wait for results without changing the thoughts that shape their behavior. They expect doors to open without preparing themselves mentally to walk through them. They hope for transformation without adjusting their inner world. Success is not something that happens by accident. It's something you grow into. And you grow into it by expanding your mindset to match the life you want, not the life you're used to. When your mindset matches your goals, you stop thinking in terms of limitations and start thinking in terms of solutions. You stop asking, "Oh, can I do this?" and start asking, "How can I do this?" You stop focusing on what you don't have and start maximizing what you do have. You begin to see challenges not as reasons to quit, but as requirements for leveling up. A goal demands a certain version of you, and your mindset is the foundation of that version. If you want a big goal, you must adopt the mindset of a person who takes big actions, makes big sacrifices, and maintains big discipline. Your comfort zone may feel familiar, but it cannot offer growth. Everything you want is outside of it. The comfort zone trains you to repeat the same days, the same thoughts, the same reactions. But your goals require new thinking. Thinking that's uncomfortable, unfamiliar, and sometimes even scary. To match your goals, your mindset has to be willing to step into discomfort repeatedly. You must be willing to take risks, learn new skills, break old habits, and push past fear. A comfort-based mindset said, "Want to feel good right now." Gut-based mindset said, "But I want to become better long-term." The difference between those thoughts is the difference between staying stuck and moving forward. A mindset aligned with your goals also requires responsibility. You can no longer blame circumstances, people, or timing. You start to recognize that your life is shaped by your choices, and your choices are shaped by your thoughts. When you fully accept this, you stop looking outward for answers and start looking inward for growth. Your mindset becomes the driver instead of the passenger. You stop waiting for life to happen and start creating life intentionally. One of the biggest shifts that occur when your mindset rises to the level of your goals is that you start valuing discipline over instant gratification. You stop chasing the feeling of the moment and begin focusing on the results you want in the future. You understand that success requires long-term thinking, consistent habits, and the willingness to do what others avoid. Comfort tells you to stop when you're tired. A success-driven mindset tells you to stop when you're finished. Comfort tells you to take the easy way. A success-driven mindset focuses on what is necessary, not what is easy. When your mindset matches your goals, you also become more resilient. You don't fall apart when things become difficult. You expect challenges. You prepare for setbacks. You understand that the path to success is not smooth, and you refuse to let obstacles define you. This mindset doesn't guarantee a perfect journey, but it guarantees that you won't quit. You develop perseverance, adaptability, and patience, all of which are essential for achieving big goals. Then the powerful shift is that you begin to separate your current situation from your future potential. People with a comfort zone mindset judge themselves based on where they are now. People with a goal match mindset judge themselves based on where they are going.